So the reason we're doing this, if anyone's dropping in right now and has no idea, I have very low familiarity with Warhammer 40k. Like, I know the franchise. I played Dawn of War, Soulstorm. I loosely know that it's people that go into space, genetically modified human beings, and an emperor, and lots of gods. That much I know. I love the Battle Sisters. And then anything else is just kind of very loose knowledge. So I want to like at least have like a general understanding of the universe. So that if I wanted to play Space Marine 1, if we're to play Space Marine 2, because I hear playing Space Marine 1 before 2 is just at least a good understanding of the campaign and what is happening, then we are like not completely out of water as we dive into this. And you know me, I do like my lore, I do like diving into the universe, and I want to see if Warhammer 40k is for me. What is Warhammer 40k? Because I feel like this is a really good like place to start, right?
In the grim dark.
Whoa. I think like maybe because I'm sure I'm not the only one in here that's like, what the heck is Warhammer 40k in a like broad stroke. I feel like starting with this might just allow us to just dive into it. And then if you want to infuse us with more information in chat, I'm sure I'm not going to absorb all of it today. Feel free, geek out. You know, I want you to geek out. That's one way to like, you know, appreciate a fandom and get into it, especially when the fandom is fantastic and really welcoming. With that being said, I know a lot of you are here because I mentioned Warhammer. Let's watch a video. Yes, this is a 30-minute video. I don't know if we're gonna watch it all. We might pause a little bit. We might talk a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Right, here we go.
The 41st millennium exists the Empire of Man, a backwards carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted forces, gigantic robot knights, religious machine cultists, and incredibly heavily armored women, most likely with sweltering abs.
I love
and
them.
One must know what those abs taste like.
Thirst so early into this video. Oh my god, does that really just segue into a GG or a Gamer Subs ad? Alright, here we go. I've tried their anime thigh drink, so I understand. It's good.
The age of knowledge and enlightenment has ended.
A brief overview, because hopefully we'll have Alex Jordan join us next week for some more. We'll play some Space Marines.
Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens.
Nice.
These aliens lived short, painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the Necron tier, looked up to the stars and found extreme beings of real power. Beings with the ability to create life. The old ones of the galaxy.
Almost sounds like Eldritch Lords.
For help, please cure us of our ailments. To which the old ones said, piss off. So the Necron tier gathered together and did the sensible.
I love that. It's already a great start. It's like, no, heck you. You can just go die.
Thing. They declared war upon these old beings and were promptly beaten into the dirt back to their short, painful lives. In the world of Warhammer...
Dude, I love that they looked up to the skies like, oh, great powers of beings, help us. No, okay, we'll fight you. Oh, crap, we realize we're not even strong enough to do that.
There is a hell. This hell is not like you and I know it. It's more of an afterlife, a place where dead souls end up. This place has
already off to a great start, chat.
The Sea of Souls, the Immaterium, and the Ether. But mostly, we just call it the Warp.
I like the Super Mario 64 music here.
Hell as a place of horrors and punishment, the Warp isn't really that. Not in the beginning. It's energy, but the kind of energy formed from thought and soul, psychic energy, where the dead souls of people end up in a place that is impossible to understand. No laws
so we use that power to warp.
Like time is merely a suggestion, and it is not something that can be braved easily. The warp would be like sailing the ocean in a pirate movie. To jump from your ship would be certain death. To stay in the sea for too long on your boat could drive a man mad. And there are many dangerous things lurking in those depths. Yet, the sea is not evil. It simply is. Mostly. There are more malevolent beings.
A little asterisk, like gotta put a disclaimer there. Sometimes. Canonically, the two strongest gods in the universe could wreck everyone else, even if they all attack together. But they're too busy fighting each other to fight anyone else. I feel like I understand. I know who these two gods are. Can you let me know what their names are, Land? Necrontyr, he's talking about weren't even the galaxy-spanning species to start there. They legit try to fight the gods with sublight travel fish. Gorka Mor. I might have heard of them. The orc gods. I see.
In those waters, areas that you do not sail towards. This would be known as the realm of chaos.
Ooh,
The
I
realm
like
of
the realm of
chaos
chaos.
exists in the warp as a special area led by 3 chaos gods. Khorne, the
Yes,
god of
I've heard of
combat,
chaos
murder,
gods.
and slaughter, with a pile of skulls taken
This
in
god
his
I've heard
name.
of.
Tzeentch, god of change,
Never heard of this one.
mystery, and deceit, a confusing paradox of
Yeah,
lies,
blood for the blood
schemes,
gods.
and sorceries. And Nurgle,
Is that what you're
god
named
of
after? Okay.
rot, pestilence, and Genshin impact. All things rot in the end. And Grandfather Nurgle is waiting for you with open arms. These gods ruled their respective realm in the warp, sending their many followers against each other in the great game to be the most powerful of all the gods.
Of course
so
they
the
are.
warp exists. Hell
It's almost
is
like,
real,
Colosseum-style
parallel
battles.
to our galaxy, with the realm of chaos and its gods fighting for control. But there are also gods of real space, gods of the normal world too. They're called Catan, and they eat stars.
Do you
Nice.
think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
These star gods saw the plight of our poor Necrontyr and how the old ones cast them aside and said, you know what? You guys want immortality? Oh, we will make it happen. We are the gods of the tangible, of real space. We can give you a cure. So then they ate all their souls.
Well, that sounds like it's off to a great start. It seems like souls are a currency in this world for energy and stuff. Tzeentch is also fun. He could have won the Eternal War at one point, but he doesn't want to win. He enjoys the game too much, so he's nerfed himself to keep the game going. Yeah, I understand that. Can you imagine if you were like Saitama from One Punch Man and then there's just never an interesting challenge? Everything is just too easy. Your life would get boring.
And turn them into robotic automaton, feasting on their souls and leaving a hollow shell of an intelligence left that is technically immortal. With the power of an entire
Technically,
species'
asterisk?
souls,
No, the
they
asterisk
turned
is
their
here.
new robotic slaves on the old ones and hunted them to extinction. The Necrontyr now...
I see. So we're saying the star gods heard the plight of human beings, not because, not human beings, aliens, not because they care, but they're like, what if we turn them into mindless minions that will then fight the old ones and we take their soul and we give them what they want, but not quite. So it was like, careful what you wish for. Yeah, opportunistic, yes. Souls.
Now the soulless, undying Necrons got their wish at the price of their souls. But we can
It's always like
count
that.
the number of kind
Sure.
gods
Basic
on an amputated hand.
wish
With time,
lore.
the selfish star gods turned on each other, fighting one another for more chances at glory and power.
Ah,
With
they wanted
this,
glory themselves,
The leader
I
of the
see.
Necrons, Zarek, the Silent King, the man who doomed his species when he accepted this deal, waited, planned.
Zarek is the king of
bided his
aliens?
time until he seized the perfect moment and turned his legions of undead citizens against the star gods.
Oh,
Gods
dang.
cannot be killed, but they can be broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them. And
Wait. Necrons, not all aliens? Yeah. So I'm guessing the Necron tiers are the ones we're talking about here. So they're just a specific subspecies of aliens. Okay, hold on, I need to go back like 5 seconds.
broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them, and sealed them away as basically Pokemon to be used as weapons in the future.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's the Void Dragon.
Zarek then, with his perfect memory, exiled himself for his sins, flying out to the darkness between galaxies to atone for what he had done. This
Sealing
entire
the star
situation,
gods? I don't know if that
genocide
seems so
of the
terrible.
Old Ones and the rebellion of Zarek will go down in history as the War in Heaven. It is the most brutal war the galaxy has ever seen and ever will see. This was a conflict that took an entire galaxy-spanning species and pitted them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, you know, the War in Heaven, decide to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on various—
Wait, he didn't say this. So Zarek was the one responsible for making the deal with the star gods to become immortal? Was Zarek the one that had the plea for the old gods in the first place? I don't know if he explicitly said that. I just know that he's like the king, or so to speak, of this like race. So I'm guessing it was him that communicated and dealt with them. He said yes to the deal. Okay, now that makes sense. All right, we gotta go back another 10 seconds. Sorry, we might do some repeats as we process all this information.
Them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, you know, the War in Heaven, decide to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on—
My alerts are working. Yo, Boom. Thank you for the 53 months. Welcome back. It's good to have you. Hi. Are you a Warhammer fan by any chance?
various planets until the upstart species of the galaxy died out. And so turns out when you have a war that lasts tens, hundreds of thousands of years and involves the genociding of multiple species, the old ones of the galaxy, and the consumption of souls from an entire race, the warp gets a little wacky. You know, if you had a kiddie pool and it was nice and calm, Corn is over there splashing about, so you don't really go in that direction. Nurgle has explosive diarrhea, so you don't really go in that direction either.
Ew.
You can still kind of get in the pool. The pool's still fine.
No, I wouldn't want to get in the pool if I had Corn and
trillion souls to that
whatever
pool,
the
it'll make the
decay
waves
god
a
is.
little more turbulent. And turns out a
They're
lot of
doing
them
that.
like to pick a side: Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Corn. So the
Nurgle.
once calmer warp, the once relaxing kiddie pool, has now been bloated. A million years of war will certainly make Corn, god of murder and slaughter, more powerful. A million years of war will probably make Tzeentch, god of deception and change, a little more powerful. And good God, a million years of war will make Nurgle, god of decay, oh, just the tiniest bit more powerful.
This
Now,
is, I
entering that
believe, Bricky. Bricky.
kiddie pool is no longer fun, it's dangerous. The warp is now a problem. Hell is resembling hell a lot closer to what we imagined it originally. The Sea of Souls and the Realm of Chaos are now intertwined. So who else to brave the
We've
galaxy
blurred the
than a
lines with all this
species
blood
that
and
won't
war.
need to deal with that?
Age of the Eldar. I've heard of the Eldar.
The Eldar are space elves. They have a lot of the traits that you probably think of when you think of elves. Tall, slender, pointy ears, bit more androgynous looking, no matter what DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger on the
Don't go on DeviantArt.
emotional side. The old ones, as I mentioned, could create life. And when they were getting, you know, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons, they made some new races to try to help them. One of them was the Eldar. It didn't save them, but they're here now anyway. Oh,
Wait, so the Chaos Gods made the Eldar? This is so much information, chat. I'm sorry we're going to be doing this often. This is a lot to digest.
DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger.
Oh, the old
on
ones made the Eldar. Okay.
Emotional side. The old ones, as I mentioned,
Yes,
could
there.
create life. And when they were getting, you know, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons, they made some new races
Yeah, that
to
makes
try
sense.
to help them.
'Cause
One
now
of
they
them
had no
was
friends.
The Eldar. It didn't save them, but they're here now anyway. Oh, and also the Orcs, but they're busy right now.
Nice.
The Eldar are a particularly psychically powerful race, so they were really adept at being able to handle the new turbulent warp of chaos and good at killing Necrons. Hence why they went to sleep. Being psychically gifted is basically like being a wizard, but you get your wizard powers from hell. This is called being a psyker. And basically, if you want to do cool wizard shit like lightning from your hands or reading someone's mind, you can do that. But you siphon the
Okay, so this war spanned forever, and the Eldar were basically created as minions to fight the war back. And you're telling me in this time, the byproduct of this war, the warp got more confusing, but now the Eldar are using the warp's powers? That can't be good. Is there such a thing as maybe using too much of it? Isn't that just creating another, or maybe it's stabilizing the warp before removing all this weird energy that we like infuse in it because of the universe having this massive war? This is already getting very complicated. They're by far the best race. The old ones created the Eldar and the Orcs to fight Catan and the Necrons.
energy to do that from the warp. Luckily, the Eldar are very good at handling this without too many negative effects.
Oh, okay.
Because,
He answered my question.
Summoning power from the Sea of Souls.
That's what I
with
thought.
The new Chaos Friends.
That's what I thought.
Can be a bit of an issue.
That's what I
Eldar are
thought.
pretty
There
good
must be
at
a
it. And you see,
drawback.
what's really cool and also awful about Warhammer.
So what
is
happens
that
with the
most
Chaos
developed
Gods then?
species travel long, faster than light distances by going through that warp. They create a tear in reality to unreality and move through it. Faster than light travel? Cringe. We go through hell itself to deliver your packages. For those of you who play Minecraft, you know how the nether is like a pocket dimension? So moving 10 spaces in the nether is actually moving something like 1,000 in the real world. That's basically what warp travel is. Just much like in the nether,
Maybe that's where
there are a lot of
Minecraft got
things
it
that wanna
from.
kill you. The Eldar found a way to do so in between realities. Not regular reality, not the warp, something else. A purgatory of sorts.
Oh.
A fabricated psychic realm.
Look at that. It's
allowed
like a
them to
ring.
travel
It's
without
Halo.
fearing the negative effects of the warp. The Eldar were the perfect fit for the new galaxy, and they took it with open arms and pointy ears. The empire of the Eldar spread everywhere, and it spread all the way until now, the 21st century. That's right. While you were watching NPC streams on TikTok, the space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for quite a long period of time.
Oh, here comes humanity
The
into the
21st
equation.
century came and went. Humanity grew and grew, all under the nose of their elf overlords. At this time, humans advanced, your classic sci-fi style way. We began to expand, colonize our solar system,
Going to space,
terraformed our
yeah.
planets, created new and
Destroyed
more
our
powerful
planets.
machines and starships. The age of Terra, also known as Earth, but we call it Terra here, was here, and existed between the 21st century all the way until the 15th millennia. Not much is known
wow.
about this time, not much needs to be known. Humanity grew up, sought the stars. It's classic. Then came the years between 15,000 and 25,000, the age of technology, or to some, the dark age of
Wait, after all this and they had saw the stars, now the age of technology comes? Or is this in between the history of like humanity that we do know about?
technology. This is when humanity reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi, there's a lot of things you can think of. Star Trek, maybe Star Wars style. You can go cyberpunk dystopian. The age of technology was deep sci-fi.
Didn't even mention
like
Mass
a scientific
Effect.
prowess that fringed on magic.
Hey,
This
Reinhardt.
is also when the first ever psychers began showing up in humanity. Individuals with the genetic mutation to be able to access the warp, and then because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early ways of
I wonder if that's like the mutation is just kind of like a bleed effect of like all this energy and these like pockets in like space and stuff like that. It eventually, because humanity was exploring the stars, they were also somehow affected by it, and thus led to like the same sort of like capabilities within human beings.
travel. With warp travel, they could go anywhere in the galaxy. They equipped ships with gigantic AI machines, with everything you would ever need to know about mankind, and sent them out on colony ships to expand their influence across the galaxy. And this was truly the golden age of humanity. And with every golden age,
Oh god.
there is a fall. While the new human upstarts of the
Emperor?
galaxy were reaching new levels of technology and prowess, the Eldar were engaging in
Debauchery, nice.
What happens when a species has everything? You can produce unlimited food out of nothing. Your need for farmers and workers, gone. You have dominated the stars and have created a fast travel system that doesn't
have your
rely
own
on the
system.
dangers of the warp. You have nothing else to do. You have no struggles, no problems, and feel as if there is nowhere else to go. Well, you begin to experiment. The Eldar started harmless enough. You know, you take a serious interest in your species'
You
culture,
put
your
paints.
arts, paintings, poems, plays. These are Eldar, elves, remember? Their emotions are heightened, more powerful than us humans. So your plays get louder. They start to push on the limits of your hearing ability. Your music becomes different, more deranged. It pushes the boundaries of what is art. The visual spectacle of art becomes more bizarre, more
It's like
delusional,
being on acid.
more eccentric. And let's not forget a very important sense. Touch. Pornography is one thing. Brothels is another. What if they all mixed? What if your brothels were part of your art and music? And what if those became more deranged? The boundaries of debauchery were not just met, but shattered. Next thing you know, murder is commonplace and often mixed with the art, music, and sex. Pain is a common byproduct of entertainment. Whatever sensation you can have must be increased, must be enhanced, must be taken to the limits. The Eldar Empire
Oh my god. How far can this go?
slipped into a nightmarish realm of debauchery and excess, with the worst of it taking
How
place in a city
intense
in
can
the
it get?
webway, a black market for these kinds of heinous acts known as Kamara. Some Eldar saw the writing on the wall, saw what was happening to their species and how far they had slipped. So they boarded continent-sized starships called craft worlds and left their empire, seeking a more enlightened, calmer existence
Of course,
among
there's
their
always
peers.
a,
Some, those in Kamara, pushed it to even greater heights, relishing the pain
Distinction in
and
the
torment they
race.
inflicted on those around them. All during this, the warp, the yin to the yang of the world, was fed by these emotions, by the psychic power of the Eldar, by the souls taken
Yeah,
in these
I was about to say, like, it really kind of feels very weird to have people that can tap into the powers of the warp that are also very emotionally, I don't want to say unstable, but very attuned to their emotions. So probably everything's experienced at a heightened level. What about the other 39,999,000 Warhammers? People just haven't had time to report them on them, Aaron. So they're just kind of out there. You wanna tackle one? Go for it.
depraved acts on a galactic scale. And just like that, Eldar ended. Slaanesh, the fourth chaos god, was birthed into existence.
What is this
and
piece
consumed
of-
the souls of 90% of the Eldar.
Is this fan art? I'm gonna get up, chat, and get myself a drink and let all this. This is just the welcome badge. You haven't even entered the door. Does 40k have relevance to the year then? Because do we have like 20,000 more years to go through of stuff that's happened? Yes. Okay. All right. Cool.
Those that
90%?
were spared the worst of it, and those in the webway and Kamara were able to stave off the pull of Slaanesh so long as they continued to commit.
Okay, so Kamara is where all the debauchery is, and then the ones that are enlightened are the ones that took off on ships, and then there's just like a few in these areas that decided to that actually were spared all of this, but like the people who resided, like most of the Eldar population basically died. It's fan art. Okay, don't think too much about it.
Horrid acts of torture and violence. But for the majority of the Eldar, their empire died with Slaanesh's birth. The new fourth chaos god, she who thirsts, the god
She who thirsts.
of unspeakable excess of pleasure, pain, hedonism, and perfection, had been born. With the fall of the Eldar Empire came the ruin
Hi,
of
Foxy.
humanity. Slaanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge...
Okay, so you're telling me, first of all, warps were already really unstable ways of traveling and like actually really hard to traverse. So her existence being born into the sea is now creating star travel impossible. We're watching Bricky, yes. So for those of you just dropping in, I want to like learn more about the Warhammer 40k universe. Like I know very tiny details to like know a little bit about what this universe potentially is about, but not the smaller details. I've played Dawn of War Soulstorm. I love the Battle Sisters, at least conceptually. And I'm thinking of playing Space Marine 2, but I heard I need to play Space Marine 1, and we might have a friend, Alex Jordan, who might drop on stream to talk to us about some lore, and just to kind of get us started, we're watching some Warhammer 40k videos. Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of lifelong fans in here. Her creation ripped a hole in real space called Eye of Terror. This is a tangible hole in the warp. So like there's purgatories in the warp. There's like the Eldar managed to circumvent it. There's the regions where the Chaos Gods exist. And now all the debauchery by the Elder race that then went to, was it Karma or whatever it is, created this god out of all of it. And now created this space called Eye of Terror. And this is where she... okay, I guess they made it sound like Purgatory was kind of in the warp for a little while. This whole universe always sounds so cringe. It's like, so you thought it couldn't get grimmer? Well, buckle up because there's more. I'm okay with that. Darkness is fine. Imagine getting Henry Cavill on. Hook me up. I would love to have him on. All right, I'm gonna go back 10 seconds just so we catch up.
Ruin of humanity. Slaanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge classic AI rebellion, as a staple in these sci-fi settings, humanity began to suffer the Age of Strife.
So we had the dark age of technology, and we like grew into versus systems, and we had like all these great like AI ships and things like that. But now Slaanesh is born, and it's hard to travel these things. And now there's the Age of Strife.
Planets that relied on intergalactic travel were completely cut off. Long-range messages normally sent
that makes
through the
sense.
warp were snuffed out. If you were a planet that was great at
Marooned,
mining stuff,
abandoned,
but couldn't get food, well,
yep.
You know that movie about the rugby players in the mountains? Oh, and because of these insane warp storms and fluctuations,
watched that movie.
Psykers
Both
began to appear among the human population a bit more often. Now, this initially had them into
why? That doesn't make
because of
sense.
These insane warp storms and fluctuations.
Oh, the warp storms. Okay. So that's what I thought. The reason why a lot of humans probably got the abilities that Eldar did is because the warp was probably rippling and affecting the people that existed in the universe, including the humans that were like now wandering around the universe. Some of them must have inherited the abilities or the mutation to be able to do so. So now the storms are even creating more of these.
Bikers began to appear
I would
among
love
the
to hear
human
Foxy
population a bit more often. Now, this initially had them hunted down as witches, because that's pretty common in this setting, but some deemed it right to protect
even
them.
in modern
Unfortunately
human
for those people,
race.
Psykers, because they open a gateway to the warp, don't really know how to use their powers well, and they
Sounds like X-Men.
kind of attract demons, who then force their way through the Psyker as a conduit of sorts and begin to slaughter the population of your planet. The Age of Strife was a catastrophic period of time for humanity.
Where's
and set
John
back their
Constantine when you
progress
need him?
tenfold over the not one, not two, but 5,000 year period. During
Wow.
this time, the age of humanity that we know began to form. Worlds equipped with large mechs for agriculture began to equip them with weapons to defend from alien and demonic invaders. Over 5,000 years,
that's great.
this became a custom and tradition, dubbing them as night worlds, a feudal society of honor-bound knights in gigantic robots that uphold the chivalric code to defend their worlds and honor. A group of individuals on Mars, after radioactively bombing their planet to become inhospitable to human life, ran their entire lives underground on the few life support systems keeping them alive.
Wow.
Those technicians who could work on the machines
I've
and
seen
keep
this
them
design.
operational were revered, and over 5,000 years went from skilled members of society to full-blown priests.
Yep,
The
that's what I was gonna say. They look like priests. Okay. So you're telling me these storms had such a catastrophic impact on humanity that we like regressed into like basically warmongering religious cultist fanatics essentially. So that's what we know as like the space marines and Warhammer universe of today. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I can understand like how that happened, considering that just random people were just like tapping into this like warp of chaos and allowing horror to like find their way into their world, and they just had zero control over it. Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean that makes sense because like you know, we've always talked about this, like put a few people up in the Arctic alone for a while, they will go mad, you know, leave people in isolation and starvation and really rough conditions, and like basically this ability to like connect with one another is gone, so they like they go mad and create madness like forms. And it's the only way, I guess, in a really weird way, to survive these like really horrific conditions in the world. Warrior tier has a really beautiful content, but stick to Bricky or Westhammer. There's tiers and difficulties of which YouTuber to watch.
Mechanicus, or tech priests of Mars, formed in the ashes of the Red Planet with a religious fervor and doctrine on the cult of the machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the planet in a Mad Max style of blood and gore, until finally, a mysterious man
the
who
Emperor
lived in the shadows of Terra for millennia finally revealed himself to the populace. His name was the Emperor.
There we go. That I know.
He deemed himself the Emperor of mankind. Where did he come from? I don't know. Why is he 10 feet tall and the most powerful psyker of all of mankind? I don't know. Why is he basically immortal? I don't know. Where'd Cotton Eye Joe go? Who knows? But he's here, and he isn't happy with all of you ripping up Terra. So he began the Unification Wars, where he and a very early version of the famous Space Marines, the Thunder Warriors, reunited Terra under a
But I hear that even like the Emperor himself isn't like some saint or something like that. Like he's kind of messed up as well.
With blood. Then,
yes,
after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we get the Imperium.
Wait, say it again?
Banner. With the Thunder Warriors reunited Terra under a single banner. With blood. Then, after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we
So he buried the Thunder Warriors, killed them?
Also known as the Imperium. The new faction headed by the Emperor of Mankind, with a treaty signed with the Cult Mechanicus on Mars to spread out and reunite humanity after the catastrophic Age of Strife. But first, the Emperor is going to need some
children,
smaller versions of himself.
Yes.
20 of them. 18.
That much I know too. Like there's a lot of children, and a lot of them are up to a whole bunch of stuff. All very different. Can I pink you my... Yes, you can. Definitely, Foxy. Okay. It was pretty much it's weird, like it almost feels like it was kind of necessary to use so much force to be like, yo, all right, we're getting our crap together now. But like at the same time, it's like so sanctimonious and like superior, like there's a superiority complex going on here, and he's like seeing himself as like someone to unite all, but like who are you really? I mean, so someone had to, but like weird that it was like done as like such a what's called dictator style. So probably not for the best for humanity, but it, like weirdly a little bit better. Also believe there are no gods, so he destroyed other cults. Interesting.
Of them.
So one take only stands in this universe.
Of the strongest human to ever live. All of them possess unparalleled strategic power.
Well, that's bound to be good.
Formidable strength and size. A real powerful force to unite humanity.
He didn't actually have children with people. He had clones.
You ever seen that image of that guy? It's like throwing the baby like a basketball. It's about what happened. The Chaos Gods intervened and grabbed the 18 Primarch gestation pods and yeeted them across the galaxy at a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of
which Chaos God did this?
Grabs the 8 baby like a basketball. It's about what happened.
This
the
is like
Chaos
Yakuza
Gods
6.
Intervened and grabbed
all of
the
them.
18
Okay.
Primarch
I'm guessing
gestation
Slanesh as well.
and yeeted them across the galaxy at a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of keep away. So the Emperor had to get them back. So begins.
Question: if the Age of Strife is now and you can't traverse through the warp, how are like the Chaos Gods and like how are we like traversing the universe at this point? Or has like the storms calmed down and people are like traveling again and actually get, because like the Emperor at least was in contact with Mars, so I guess it was like in another galaxy, but the storms calmed down. Okay, gotcha.
The Great Crusade. A crusade across the stars to reunite not just humanity, but the Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was
Horus. I know this one.
one of the strongest and most noble sons.
What was this reaction?
The Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was Horus. One of the strongest and most noble sons. The Emperor carried with him a legion of newly crafted warriors with genetic material made from their Primarch father. These are the newly made Space Marines.
The Primarch
For
father being
his
Horus?
were the Luna Wolves.
Oh,
and as
okay.
the Emperor continued on his great crusade, he found more and more of his sons, reuniting them with their individual Space Marine legions. Leman Russ, the cunning hunter with the Space Wolves. Rogel Dorm, the phalanx
heard of this
with
guy.
the Imperial Fists. Angron, the
I haven't
barbarian,
heard of this one.
the
I've heard of
very
Horus.
angry with his World Eaters. Fulgrim, the perfect with his Emperor's children. And
Haven't heard of this one
Jagatai
either.
Khan, the swift,
Not
the
this one
stoic,
either.
and his white scars. Those were just some of the 18, and one by one his lost Primarch sons were returned to him, and their Space Marine
This one, I
legions
think I know the
returned
blue
to
scheme.
them. The Great Crusade saw humanity once again
That's why-
reconquer the stars.
So the reason why Space Marines have different colors is mainly because which Primarch they're under. Is like that. That's basically like all the Space Marine factions. Because I know, like, as far as I know, not all of the sons are in agreement with the Emperor, and they've probably had some opposition here and there. Okay, at this time, yes. All right.
Returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium and killing any and all who stood against their noble crusade.
Horus
But in
heresy.
the years of the 31st millennia, treachery would break this all apart.
Yeah, I know it. I know something.
But in the years of the 31st millennia,
31st millennia. So
treachery
we're not at 40
would break
yet.
this all
We'll get to the
apart.
40th millennia eventually.
Horus, the Emperor's most beloved and favored sons, named War Master for the Crusade, succumbed to the power of chaos and daddy issues. All because of that bastard Erebus. Yo, fuck Erebus.
Who's
Slowly,
Erebus?
Horus would become corrupted, turning the Emperor's sons against him. This begins the most pivotal moment in our story, and the one that has like 50 books written about it, the Horus Heresy.
Yep.
Half. 9 of the 18 Primarchs turned against the Emperor, and the following years were a bloody battle for the throne of Terra. The Emperor originally was working on a special webway project, just like the Eldar, to make faster-than-light travel significantly easier and safer. Really improve humanity to allow them to conquer the stars without the risk of the warp. Well, this big red idiot named Magnus kind of blew
Isn't Magnus one of the Primarchs? Okay, so you're telling me... Okay. If I'm getting this straight, Eldar hecked up the warp a lot, but before that, the Necron and the Star Gods and the old ones hecked up the warp a lot, and the Chaos Gods were there sitting and thriving. And now you're telling me the humans are about to go heck up the warp again after everything's stabilized with the storms and everything? This is gonna go great.
a hole into that, literally and figuratively. So Big E over there is stuck on a gigantic golden throne, holding back the oncoming rush of demons and powering the Astronomicon.
The
Basically
what?
a big North Star for people who are sailing in the warp to help them navigate.
Oh,
the
cute.
Horus Heresy saw many loyalists.
Wait, so you're telling me the Emperor is a really bad dude, but he actually was doing a really good thing there where he's just making it possible for people to navigate the warp? Must remain also at all times. It must be the worst and most imaginable place ever.
and traitor legions pitted against each other in a bloody war until it reached Terra itself. Horus, unable to break through the lines and with time running out, made
How long do these people live? Like, how long does the Emperor and all the sons, how long have they been alive?
a gambit and opened his ship up to be boarded. The Emperor took this challenge, quickly allowing someone else to take control of the throne as he teleported his way onto Horus's flagship, the
Is the throne also the thing that's controlling the Nomicon or whatever it is, the one, the North Star? Like, basically, does the Emperor need to be sitting on that throne to hold back the demons and control the warp at this point? He was doing good things for bad reasons. Yes, of course. So there's always a justification. It's perpetual. He cannot. How? So why? Okay. Here's a big question. The aliens, the Necron tier or whatever, they asked the old gods for immortality because they were dying of disease and stuff like that. What did the humans do to or what did the Emperor do to discover that perpetual life? Was born sometime. They just sort of exist. Is Giga Chad? The OG Giga Chad? Mass sacrifice? When one dies, another is born with the same soul? So you're saying that even if the... Oh, is that... The Emperor has died, right? At the hands of his son, hasn't he? So you're saying because the Emperor dies in one spot in the universe at one point in time, he will be reborn elsewhere?
Vengeful spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son, Sanguinius.
Oh, no!
I'm sure you've seen this image at some point. The
I
Emperor
actually
then
haven't.
said, "I'm not gonna sugarcoat it," and proceeded to psychically blast Horus into complete oblivion, killing not only his body, but also his soul.
Dang.
Horribly wounded
Dang.
from this duel, the Emperor is returned to the Golden Throne in order to keep the demons at bay and power the Astronomicon, because without it, humanity would be flying blind. There he sits, slowly dying from his wounds and the strain of powering the Golden Throne.
Why is no one treating him at this time? I understand that he needs to be there to like basically power this thing, but where is his assistance and aid?
The only thing keeping him alive is feeding upon the souls of 1,000 psychers every single day. This was 10,000 years ago. We are now in the 41st millennium, modern day.
Wait. Every day, 10,000 years. Someone do the math here. You're telling me he's consuming any psyker, human, or Eldar, or anyone that has the ability? Are there even that many? Like, from what I understand, like 90% of the Eldar, like, freaking died out. Not Eldar, just humans? Human psych? Just pure humans. Dang. But, like, what does it mean to have this North Star to let the humanity use warps if it requires this much energy to power? Like, I understand maybe opening up the warp a little bit to rescue your maroon, like, human civilizations and then bring them under, like, one rule in, like, one galaxy. But, like, why? Why? What's the point of powering this thing? Is there something I'm not understanding? Is nothing in the Empire? Oh, God. You don't even know how to pronounce that number? It's just too big. Too many zeros. There's like trillions of humans in the galaxy, so there's quite a few psychers you can fish out, sure. And like, does that mean they're like harvesting them and putting them in front of the Emperor? Or like, is he somehow capable of like tapping into any psyker in the universe and just drawing their life form? Yeah, basically. It seems like he's just kind of a husk and like he just needs like 1% battery to like continue maintaining this thing.
Warhammer 40,000.
Ah, that looks like horse.
The Emperor remains on his throne. The Imperium is a rotting carcass of an empire, a fascist, xenophobic cult that worships the Emperor as a deity despite him never wanting to be seen as a god. Over the span of 1 million worlds, the ecclesiarchy, the church of the Emperor, is spread throughout. Inquisitors with unparalleled power root out any sign of heresy or lack of devotion to their god Emperor. The other half of the traitor legions
I guess
move about as
he's
Chaos Space Marines.
Literally too weak to even like oppose this at this point.
Raiding and pillaging the Imperium, while the loyalist half does their best to keep the Empire alive. All throughout this, they must endure Orc invasions, Eldar trickery, the reawakening of the Necron race, and the Great Devourer, the newest tyrannid threat from the darkness between galaxies that has arrived to feast on their worlds.
Okay, what the heck is a tyrannid? And where do they fall into all of this? He just like went into, he's like, basically, this happened, that happened, okay, fine. The Necrontyr have like reemerged, got that. You know? To a GPS short, the Swarm. Alien from another galaxy. The Zergs. He's a vegetable. They'll consume everything. Got it.
The theme of Warhammer 40,000 is regression and intolerance. Every major faction in Warhammer has had an empire that spanned the galaxy only to be crushed back to a hollow shell of what they once were due to their own failings. Culture, the arts,
Hey, we're
personal
doing that.
freedom, religious tolerance, the simple possibility that alien life might not want to kill us is considered heretical and is often met with a pistol to the head. There is no time for these things. All there is time for is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be a human in the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence. To be one of trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized to become slaves. A place—
Wait, why is AI outlawed now? Also sick armor. I don't understand why is it because they don't want people to think? Is it like that same sort of like fascist kind of like nation? There's an AI rebellion? Oh, he skipped over that. From way back. Because demons can possess robots without souls. I see. StarCraft initially was supposed to be a Warhammer 40k game, but Games Workshop said no. Of course they did. Tyranids are new to the 40k, only discovered 260 years ago in the 40k universe when they entered the Milky Way. They're a big threat, I guess. Hive species from outside the galaxy. They may potentially rule over the rest of the universe, and ours is the last galaxy standing. So only humans are left at this point? Okay, hold on, let's go back.
Is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be a human in the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence. To be one of trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized to become slaves. A place where lack of devotion is met with death. And if you even have devotion, there is a good chance the threats to the galaxy, chaos, and aliens will kill you anyway. Warhammer is a world where you revel in being bad. There are protagonists, there are antagonists, but every faction is some shade of evil. Because playing the bad guys is always more fun. And my friend, you have a selection. So pick up that lasgun soldier. You and the other 3 million men and women in this single deployment on this single world in this single battle will now show them the might of the God Emperor. That weapon in your hands has killed 99% of the alien populations in this galaxy. Unfortunately for you, soldier, you're fighting the final 1%. May the Emperor be with us. Glory to the first man to die, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
I like how this was written. The script is good. Don't have ammo to use it. Good luck, soldier.
Thank you, everyone. I hope I have helped teach you about Warhammer. If you are a brand new person and you want to get a bit more—
Is this like one of these like series that like anyone can pick up and write the book? Like you have all these like you can have Salvatore write a freaking Warhammer book if you want, kind of like comic books. Does that mean they have like a lot of continuity issues as well? Like, is it like the comic verse where like literally every now and then something is retconned or like something else is like removed from the the canon and it just goes into disarray and everyone's like, no, but when you need a guide to know which book to read. Oh God, it needs to be licensed. Got it. I see.
or about the world. There are multiple books that do a great job at showing off how the entire universe operates.
So where do you
For the
start?
most part, Warhammer is a setting, and often stories are told in that setting with a Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum King Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum Kingmaker is an assassin novel involving those night worlds. This is Mission Impossible, but Warhammer. Bloodlines is Blade Runner, but Warhammer. And the list goes on and on.
You can basically coat like any like, you know, popular like series in the world. We could put Final Fantasy, but Warhammer.
Brand new novel for a first-time Warhammer enjoyer, these are the 4 I would recommend. Horus Rising, Caiaphas Cain, First and Only Gaunt's Ghosts, and Infinite and the Divine. They are all fantastic novels, and they will get you acquainted with the world without needing to know too much. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself a Gamer Subs flavor, enjoy the new sweet 6-pack, and if you're curious...
Let's see that one Gamer Subs one image one more time. Oh my gosh, wow. Questions, many of them. Brain exploding a little bit. But I think I kind of understand. 1988, dang, how did it grow out so big? What popularized Warhammer? Like, I understand that we have like Dungeons and Dragons, right? I don't know if I've seen something on the scale of this other than, like, when I think of something like Warhammer 40k, the only thing that I feel like really kind of like complements it is Dungeons and Dragons and comic books. I have the timeline of the 40k universe by Trazyn. Watching people learn about the lore for the first time is amazing content. I personally like tragic universes, so like when people are like, oh, you're up for some depressing moments, I don't really mind. I think this is gonna be cool. Like, I find that these are the most complex and interesting universes because like they produce the most wild characters. Bricky was a good start, I think. I think Bricky did it really well. I was like worried, like what if I was gonna watch like a Warhammer 40k nerd that was gonna be like so dry in delivery, you know? Like it was just gonna be like a really dry watch of like someone going into like, well, there's this faction and that faction, and then they like went to war because like one person said heck you, and then it was just gonna be like a monotonous like, so, but it was good. It was good. It was like a easy watch, I would say. Because I hear people saying Space Marine 2 is like literally so good. And I know as someone who's like only consumed Warhammer 40k stuff from the sidelines, people say not often Warhammer 40k games are good.
Museum, our gallery. Within these halls sits the galaxy's most comprehensive collection of artifacts in existence. I have spent my long years cataloging the entire culture of all the beings I could, from the dawn of time to the present day. Within these halls are libraries, containing the last known words of countless races who have been cast to the harsh, uncaring winds of time. Truth be told, there are more galleries in my museum than a mortal could wish to visit in several lifetimes. Each hall is dedicated to a great empire and their achievements, but also their faults and inevitable demise. The history of the universe is filled with such empires, their names forever carved on the steel of time. There are others who accomplished little with their gift of life, their existences being short, painful, blighted tales. The tales of history are only reserved for those who earn the right to write them. I will show the halls of my library to guide you on the story of all of time. As we start from the dawn of all existence.
What the heck? This is like a freaking movie chat. It's movie time. Anyone got any popcorn and blankets? Okay, so is the voice the narrator, aka Trazyn, who's like talking as if like they have collected this like museum to tell the stories, and like it's just like the script for taking you through all these different empires and their good and bad. Okay, he's talking in Trazyn Puff. All right. Yeah, it watches like a movie, it listens like a movie. This is good. I like it. It's very well stylized. Oh, I thought Trazyn was the YouTuber, but Warrior Tier is the YouTuber. Gotcha. So Trazyn the Infinite is a Necron, so that means
Density.
they're soulless Necron.
A singularity, initiating the expansion.
So we're starting all the way at the
Gas and
beginning, at the
cosmic
Big
dust,
Bang.
sent into eternity to become everything we know or ever will. Gravity is the key to it all. Gravity birthed the stars. It connects the galaxies, guiding them in motion to their inevitable orbits. That haunting cosmic ballet played out over infinite millennia, forever churning in the restless flow of time, locked in the embrace of gravitational unity. Vast ages of time pass. Ancient evolution forms in the stars. Gravity guides
Hey, John.
worlds beyond count into existence. As the stars collapsed,
This
and
reminds me of
we
Melody
into
Sheep.
the infinite,
Hey, honey.
the impossible happened. The first true life in the universe emerged, victorious, in an arms race of evolutionary barbarism. I suppose I should introduce
They are,
the
Neo.
Immaterium,
Worth looking
the Sea
into.
of Souls, the Ether. It has many names.
Yeah, this is
However, it is generally referred to as the Warp,
the warp.
an alternate dimension that has existed as long as the universe itself. Made up of pure psychic energy and raw emotions, the warp is endless, unpredictable, and terribly dangerous to those who cannot harness its power. The first conscious life was the star vampires, self-aware entities that appeared in the void between nowhere and nothing.
So these are the star gods, I'm imagining.
Beings of great power that consumed the energies of stars, feeding on the life force of the planets themselves.
I wonder in this like universe, are star gods basically like what cause like do stars even go supernova in this universe if there are star gods? Or do like the reason why the lights go out on like the sun or whatever is potentially a star god in this universe? The Catan helped Necron Tier.
These parasites do not differ from any life in the universe. All life desires the same outcome: energy consumption and safety for their offspring. They would, with time, be known as the Catan. The cursed reptilian Old Ones scraped their primal forms onto the shores of worlds, long dead before even we Necrons evolved to stand upright. The first true sentient beings to cross the vast reaches of the galaxy. They were the first to climb the long trail of evolution and self-awareness. Their ceaseless advances placed them at the top of the
Did they
pyramid in
grow
the
by
sky.
feeding on the stars?
They traveled through the stars like dust travels on the breeze. And even
Like, you know how in normal, like, what you call it? Animal kingdoms and like the phyla that we have and the pyramid of like consumption, we always have creatures that exist to consume things because they serve a purpose within the whole like cycle. I feel like star gods were just born as a way to like clean up a large like galaxy universe from all this like energy almost. At least that what it feels like to me, because like we all have lots of tiny creature in this universe, while we don't see their point and purpose are often to like take care of the decay and stuff around us. So I think this is kind of cool. Yeah, I'm already going too deep. I'm sorry. It's the science speaking. Space roly-poly. See, you get it, RNG.
What younger races would call the webway. Through the webway, the old ones seeded life on hundreds of worlds. In their wake, they birthed countless untold...
So the old ones are responsible for
species
creating
and
life in the galaxy. Are they also responsible for humans?
Life was cruel to our species. I need not tell you that. Evolving upon a cursed world, falling victim to the scorching heat of our nearest star, withering our bodies and lives. Our suffering evolved our culture and history. We built
Because
our
this
empire
is a perspective of
despite
Necron.
struggle and endless pain. We were worthy of the gifts the stars had shown to
But
the
they
others.
didn't give it to them until they
Our
made a
leaders
deal.
met with the old ones.
And they said
We
nay.
begged for the cure to death, to show us the secrets of immortality. They refused us, refused our desire for life. And, in their ignorance, they doomed themselves. There was no choice for us. We waged war against the tyrants. Countless generations ground to powder beneath the heel of the greedy and the vicious. Even with our unified empire, even with the might of countless worlds and millions of genius warsmiths, the strength of our dynasties was not enough to defeat the old ones. The war was lost.
I mean, you can even
The
figure
victor's
out the
defeat,
cure to
meaning
death.
we were still cursed to weak,
Right.
frail lives.
So how could you
The
beat the
old
gods?
ones banished us to the edges of the galaxy. They forced us into exile on our home world. It was then that the Catan came with their offer. The ancient beings of the cosmos had appeared. They came as gods, promising the gifts we desperately sought.
Yeah, this is
We
so
were all
nefarious.
fools
They were
to believe them.
opportunistic.
After the agreements were signed,
Why
our
would it
people
come so
were put
easy
in
on a
chains
silver
and marched
platter?
into the furnaces. As our flesh and blood was ripped from our bodies, we became the machine.
I hope they use stardust to make
Betrayed.
them. Like some really amazing metal.
Those traitorous sun-eating dogs feasted on the souls of a whole race, an entire culture.
You know, what's also really interesting, I wonder if like at this point they spent so much time consuming stars, they were like, a taste of souls, please. I would like that. It's like a delicacy, you know, it's like caviar. It's like, this is the special, like stars, you know, I don't know about that. That's like, we were used to eating this dish. We want souls now. Like a new form of power. They're made of living metal. It can reconstruct itself. That's actually really dope. That's cool. Yeah, monkey paw wish.
That the ambassador for the Catan was named a deceiver, but our translators misunderstood
Oh, of course they did.
and believed its name was a messenger.
Classic. Classic.
The God War, the breaking of the void, the war in heaven. 5 million years of hate and flame.
Can't believe
The
it
old
spawned
ones were
on that
driven
long.
back by the combined force of the Catan and us, their steel slaves. Wherever we Necron tread, life fades like a distant spark in a cold night. The old ones, those fools, they grew desperate,
They made
creating
the Eldar.
to help them in their losing war. A race of decadent, hedonistic artists to fight steel gods.
Makes
Fools.
sense.
They created
I
the
like that they
fierce
consider them
Krog,
steel
a
gods now.
species that thrives on war and the desire for war.
So
Little did
those are
they
the
know of
orcs.
The plague they were creating. And on a small habitable world, it was said that they also seeded baseline primate life. As the last defense strongholds are on the verge of collapse, after we have
Those are
flayed the minds
corks,
and
okay.
spirits of countless old ones, they formed their last doomed battle line. As the old ones were pushed into oblivion, Zarek, the Silent King, led our armies against our slave masters. We turned on the Catan.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by a really loud lawnmower that just went right by the window.
The Catan were weakened by the war against the Old Ones and the threats of the Eldari and Krork armies. The Catan were shattered, defeated and placed in our stasis chambers, made to watch from containment as the race they sought to enslave freed themselves.
Do the Stargods ever come
The
back?
mighty Catan were not much more than prisoners, forced to watch us live on despite their evil desire. Weakened from the wars, we faced the new threats of the multiple upstart races, the Eldari, the Krork, and so many more.
You think they're gonna come back again? Doing the like talk to the Necrons. I might hear them return. They might be returning. No. Oh. Oh. It's getting louder. They're coming back. I feel like my stream is being invaded right now with this lawnmower. Chaos God sending a lawnmower. What's the lawnmower god called? Lawn. See, wait, the scythe. Cool. The god of reaping. How would I say that, Gorka? Like sickle. Oh. Oh, the god of reaping. I like that one too. Sickle.
The Silent King decided our fate. We were to wait in silence as our armies rebuilt. We need not fear time like our puny carbon-based enemies.
No.
It is during
Not like
this
us
time
carbon-based
the Eldari
entities.
developed their technology at an exponential rate, becoming the dominant force in the universe. It seemed they had advanced their species to immortality.
They did
But
what
how long could they sustain their own desires?
the Necron couldn't and
I
the
admit,
humans couldn't.
I am partial to the Eldari. Their great works are unrivaled. Their ability to will a world into being is haunting.
Pretty cool.
We must speak about the so-called human element, as their empires take up many halls of my museum. Though sometimes unhinged and unpredictable,
That's
they
us.
are interesting
Unhinged and
and present
unpredictable.
true promise for us.
It's
We
our
recover
only
much of
winning
their
angle
history,
here against any
difficult
unknown
as it
entities.
is with
We're
the conflicting
unpredictable.
dates set by the Imperium itself. But no matter, we will account their records from our own sources. Imperial records will be our guide. Or should I say, those Imperial records which I have
Yeah,
prepared
the
will
famously
be our guide. I
told
always found
by
them
one
to be of great amusement.
Caesar flag.
They had begun on a small class 54415 planet, on the edge of the galactic arm of the Milky Way. They had first crawled from the primordial ooze as advanced water-based life. To think that glorified fish now wrap the galaxy in an iron fist is enough to burn my central processors to solder.
Glorified
However,
fish.
as we slept, these fish people became baseline primates, class 4 beings. For much of their early existence,
Monkey.
the primitives accomplished little. It was their use of tools that separated them from the other animals of creation. From the first moment a cave-dwelling savage struck a porcine variant with a rock, it was all over. Slowly, they invented pottery and the bringer of security, that is fire. It was then that the warp entities had emerged from the void, the first knowledge of the immaterium. The damage from our wars against gods had ripped wounds in the universe. From these wounds came the apparent gods, extremely powerful creatures that bask in the souls of the dead, growing ever in power.
Did the wars
mortals
affect
referred to
humans
the
during this
beings as
primate era?
The Chaos Gods. They were named Khorne, Tzeentch, and Nurgle. What are three more pathetic void beings against the might of this galaxy? We have killed greater beings before. we may have to do so again. It is at this point that the Aldari learned the secrets of the webway and continued their dominance of the
Interesting how
stars.
the Eldari found immortality before they figured out the webway. So I wonder how is it the Emperor
imperial
came
myth
to understand the
concerning birth
webway.
of their god emperor is as follows. Seeing the inevitable fate of humanity to be consumed by the chaos gods, a group of humanist shamans banded together to stop this future. They had devised a plan to save their species from the thirsting gods committing ritualized mass self-annihilation. As the shamans died and their souls entered the warp, the power of the souls overwhelmed the beings that inhabited that dead void.
Interesting.
The
That's
soul
one hell of a
their
way.
soon-to-be emperor was birthed.
That is so interesting. What is one way to enter the void? Well, let's completely die in mass and then just enter through as a soul form that we can like almost like hacking a system. Yeah, reverse entering. The interesting way that they went about it.
And made manifest in his physical form. I must add here, this is perhaps one of my favorite twists of fate in all of history. Deep within a black stone complex, which crashed on Mars before the rise of humanity, is the Noctis Labyrinth.
I've seen this symbol before.
Within walls built 65 million years ago by us, lies the ancient Void Dragon.
Oh, a void
Imperial myth
dragon.
tells us that it is believed that the Emperor conquered this dragon on Terra. After this defeat, it
We're talking the Emperor as we know in like modern like Warhammer 40k.
was imprisoned beneath Mars for all time. Little do they know,
So was the dragon then a enemy of the Necron, or was it part of the Necron? One and only one. The dragon is Catan. Oh yes, because you told me Forsana, I think was the one saying, was it Forsana said that there was a piece of Catan buried on Mars, and so they found this. Okay, I see why there would be so much power here.
Void Dragon. Imperial myth tells us that it is believed that the Emperor conquered this dragon on Terra. After this defeat, it was imprisoned beneath Mars for all time. Little do they know, those red-robed clicking iron princes, that their Void Dragon is a Catan let loose by corrupted slumber codes. I wonder how they would react to the news that its real name is the Eater of Knowledge.
Oh god. Wait, what does
The
that
humans
imply
began
then?
their empire on Terra. Their grasp of technology is slow. They spend much of their time throwing sharpened tree pieces at each other. Terra had a multitude of cultures, each one's god more important than the other. It was during this time that the Chaos Gods had fully awakened. With the abundance of new souls, the Chaos Gods had grown stronger. One human myth is that these events in their early years manifested the gods.
So it's interesting that as the universe grows stronger, chaos grows stronger. And correct me if I'm wrong, all souls find their way to the warp in one way or another. Is that so? Is that like the flow of energy within the universe? So if there's like death and destruction and murder and massacre, it all flows into it. It's kind of a mirror reality. Okay, so why is it that like a war with so much death and destruction would affect a mirror reality? But what does it then imply that the Emperor might have by myth killed this void dragon? Souls flow to the warp. I mean, from like what the hijack that we just talked about, it seems like that's where they go.
Orn was born in the charnel pits of millions of dead humans. Nurgle vomited into the universe in the wake of the vast catalogue of their illnesses. And Tzinch during the artistic awakening periods of each
So you're
unique
telling me
Terran
they were
culture.
born from human
How arrogant
eras?
to think that the universe would notice their tiny conflicts. Humans had conquered their homeworld. They had experimented with the possibilities
Like
of
it's no
travel
different than
through the
cardinal
immaterial.
sins.
Still unsure of how to harness its power for space travel. They had developed primitive spacefaring capabilities and set off to terraform their solar system. They have always been amusing creatures, thinking themselves masters of the cosmos. even back when fire was their most advanced achievement.
The warp is formed of psychic energy.
In
Okay, that
essence,
makes sense.
they are simple jellyfish, a travesty of nerves that stems from an inferior brain, piloting a suit of bone, wrapped in decaying meat. It is their arrogance that I enjoy so much. They were never meant for the stars, yet they do all to conquer each parsec. They fight amongst themselves more than any enemy. Tranquility makes them squirm. They lived for war. The humans built
I like this
colonies throughout
perspective
their
as like
nearest
an alien
quarters,
observing
a slow
humans.
process due to their primitive spacecraft. They continue to do what they do best: build and breed. Worlds are terraformed and colonized. Sublight travel was their archaic way of colonization, each colony drifting farther from the home world of terror.
I'm so proud of these fish
Overexpansion
people.
resulted in loss of communication. It was only a matter of time before this formula would collapse into bedlam and chaos. As the years drifted on, countless interstellar empires emerged, trading throughout the galaxies. Most of these supposed empires bore me. They prosper for such short spans of time. One does not even need to remember their futile existence. The humans furthered their grasp on nature, bending any resources they could find to their greed. Colonies stretched into the vast reaches of solar systems, overextending their empire. The myths of the Emperor continue to grow. It is said the Emperor arrived on Molech and found a portal into the Immaterium. A deal was made with the Chaos Gods for the...
Okay, hold on. This is what I want to know. The Emperor and his arrival here is interesting. If sunlight is the fastest travel, they cannot maintain coherent control across stars, so each star system would be on their own.
Colonies stretched into the vast reaches of solar systems, overextending their empire. The myths of the Emperor continue to grow. It is said the Emperor arrived on Molech and found a portal into the Immaterium. A deal was made with the Chaos Gods for the gift of knowledge of warpcraft, allowing the Emperor to create the Primarchs.
What did they have to gain from giving him this
The
knowledge?
Eldar Empire had grown into the most advanced civilization in the universe.
Can I maybe propose something really dumb here? Like, as someone who's an outsider to this, learning that the Necron were denied immortality by the old gods, only the star gods decided to help them out as an opportunistic mean. Why would the Chaos Gods want to help the Emperor for free? I feel that the gods benefited off the Emperor's desire to conquer the universe back under a unified rule, potentially even feeding in, like, I can totally see him going up to, was it Korn, the blood god, and like the blood god agreeing to this or something like that, because they know the future. By helping him, he created the Primarchs and Horus Heresy. So were the Chaos Gods then an agent in and they willingly and willfully spread the Primarchs throughout the universe as a part of this negotiation? Because it doesn't seem like the Emperor was very happy with it. Or was that there for, like, they just saw this guy, they knew he was going to create sons, and these sons are going to be tools that they use to spread whatever nonsense into the universe? The gods gained a lot of power because the Emperor tried to screw them. Time is a suggestion in the warp. Yeah, interesting. A human posing as an alien for the sake of narrative, observing humans. When you think about it, it's pretty funny. We would even presume to know how he'd be viewed. Betrayal is part of it. Yeah, because I feel like there's no way the Chaos Gods, like, I know this is all like myth and stuff like that, but like, there's no way the Chaos Gods would just allow some human to wander in through a random portal on whatever place to just waltz in, get the knowledge for warpcraft, if there wasn't something in it for them, or he didn't like make the ultimate trade of time. So like, they are benefiting from this in one way or another. So it just feels weird that like he just came out like unscathed with Warcraft to now propel the human race forward.
They had achieved the apex of technology, creating their own desires from will alone. Lesser races proved no threat to their domination of the stars. The human gene saw an evolutionary jump. There were sudden appearances of psychers, as they call them. Cursed individuals who can draw power from the image.
This could be a byproduct of that deal. Not just the fact that like obviously there are chaos storms as a result of like everything that happened, but like maybe they wanted more of that energy into the world so humans would let in demons and stuff everywhere.
Materium. Humans who developed the navigator gene allowed the first human navigators
There's a
to
navigator
make the
gene?
passage through the warp.
Does the Emperor have a navigator gene?
The great navigator bloodlines controlled warp travel. The humans continued to explore and colonize all that they found. Treaties were signed with dozens of xeno races. It was truly a golden age for humanity. Technology often gets the better of the primitive species that craft it. The promises of comfort and ease of existence has led to the downfall of dozens of species. It was then that man's greatest creations,
Turn
their
Belton.
slaves, turned on their masters in force.
Classic
The
singularity.
revolt, as it was once called, started with the men of iron. Anarchy ripped throughout all of humanity. The golden age of humanity ended in brutality. Who knows how many billions lost their lives, or what technology was destroyed in the process.
It almost feels like this is kind of like one game of the gods to be like, you think you can grow too strong? Think again. It's like almost like every time like a civilization comes to its apex or something like that, or maybe not even so, like the gods like kind of intervene and like kind of like humble the entire species and gets them crawling in the dirt and the mud or gets them involved with other things. Like you achieved like the age of technology and now you're like, you know, creating all this wonderful stuff. Nah. Demands balance. But I wonder if it's the gods that have the hands on the balance or if there's just a natural like order of things here. It seems like the Eldar, in every sense of the word, are the more superior humans. I feel like the Elder, which is really interesting compared to like Necrons did not have this advantage the same, and humans didn't either. The Eldar managed to learn so much and do so much with that knowledge. I feel like Elder just grasped things a little bit better than everyone else.
Across the stars, another empire fell to time. The Eldar had enjoyed their moment of success. Technology was not
Speaking
their
of,
downfall. Their own desires tore them apart.
That's fair. Living too
Sheer
long.
physical impulses and depravity
That's
broke them.
the classic
Their
immortality
yearning
problem.
for lust and pleasure cursed their kind. The being that spawned from their depravity forever changed the course of the stars. It was then that the being known as Slaanesh came to be. The Eye of Terror that came to be from the creation of Slaanesh obliterated almost all of the Eldar. She who thirsts, as some have called Slaanesh, feasted on billions of Eldari souls. Some of the Eldari foresaw the dark future and left their homeworlds behind. The craft worlds were all that was left of them now. Vast, floating cities that are slowly fading away. As a fan of theatrical renditions of historical events, I find the performances from this era to be especially entertaining.
Yeah, I kind of would like to see the creations that they came up
The
with.
humans had peaked in their scientific advances. The historical blueprints, or as they are more commonly known,
Age of
the
Strife.
standard template constructs, became the database of all human technology. Humanity was plagued with warp storms that appeared throughout the far reaches of the galaxy. Warp travel was impossible, and the colonies began to erode. This is a difficult time for my collection. Almost all the important artifacts had been stolen by that damned Mechanicus. Ugh, if only I were awake during this time.
What Mechanicus stole
The
it?
humans are easy candidates for the corruptive powers that inhabit the warp. Through the warp storms, psychic energy flowed into
It almost
space.
feel like humans were not
The
too
weaker of
strong.
humanity's
Like the way that Trazyn kind of used humans is like they weren't ever meant to space travel, but somehow by like some fortuitous circumstances and luck and stuff, they just managed to thrive and like capture all this power and like traverse the stars. But like they are way too weak to deal with this kind of stuff. Yeah, weak fish people, jellyfish. It's cult of the machine god from Mars. I see. Adeptus Mechanicus.
psychers suffered from demonic
It's ours.
possession.
Okay.
The human race tore itself apart.
But one robot to another. But he
The
called
Emperor
them
of
like
Mankind
iron.
began his plans for domination.
Maybe he
began
sees them
work
as
on
inferior.
creating the gene seeds that would lead to the formation of his 20 sons, or as they are more commonly referred to, Primarchs. Imperial record fails to state exactly how this event occurred. It only states the Primarch embryos were scattered throughout the galaxy.
Could be another part of the pact with the Chaos Gods. Who knows?
All blame is laid at the feet of the Chaos Gods for this deed. But who can really say? The Emperor set out on his quest to find the missing Primarchs. My sleep was suddenly over. Myself and other High Lords awakened from our slumber. My initial excitement evaporated as the realization of how much time had passed. I had to continue my work.
This is when they come back
It
into
was my duty to my
existence
dynasty
after
to store the relics
warring
of
for
our
so
past.
long.
Even that miserable little pile of secrets Urakin was awakened. However, this was not our time to reclaim our galaxy. What a time to be awake, to witness this short era of grandeur. This story of this era contains artifacts
The Great
that are
Crusades.
amongst my
No wonder he's so
favorite valuable
fascinated by them.
museum. The warp storms that plagued mankind for over 5,000 years drifted away. The Emperor of Mankind was known as the greatest psyker in history. He united the people under his rule during the
I wonder
unification
even
wars.
greater than Elder
He made a
Sackers.
pact with the cult Mechanicus on Mars. He expanded the human empire while discovering his wayward sons. The blood that was spilled was that of legend. The humans had set to take hold of the galaxy, swallowing everything in their path. Unity was always their strength, yet they denied it at every chance they could. The Emperor was the key to their survival. He colored his legions and sent his sons to fight his wars. I witnessed such glorious battles during this period. So much occurred during these times. So much to record, to document, to preserve.
So you're telling me not only does the Emperor destroy you in real life, but he enters the warp to destroy any inkling of your presence so you may never resurrect in this universe again? In Dawn of War, you see the tech priests. Those are the Mechanicus. Oh, I see. Okay. Call them AdMech. I see. Imagine living for 20k years when you say you finally start your project of domination and get scattered across the stars. Okay. That's what happened to Horus. I see. That's why he's dead. He dead. Speaking
The
of,
artifacts from this era are amongst some of my favorites. The Primarchs had been found and sent on their various quests for the Emperor. The
Oh,
Great
they're so
Crusade
massive.
had come to an end. Humanity
Why
had
are they
become
so
the dominant
massive?
life in the universe.
just because
Imperial
Emperor
history,
himself
recording
was,
events during these
the
times
genes.
had been subverted. So much has been altered to appease the masses, to appease the Inquisition and the religious maniacs. What is known as fact is the Emperor's favorite son, Horus, had betrayed the Emperor. He and half of his brothers rebelled against the Imperium, and I was there to see it play out. The Battle of Istvan III was where the treachery transpired, with blade and firearm. To see the armored warriors battle, brother against brother, it was as beautiful as it was tragic. I remember being impressed by the humans. My theory of their hatred of peace was proven once again. How they love to fight. The eternal war.
Such simple jellyfish. Primitive minds.
Above Terra, another civil war had already begun brewing. The Mechanicum split into two. The Red Robes believe in a being they named the Omnisire. Many believe the Emperor was not the true avatar of the machine god. Many believe that the Emperor is, in fact, the Omnisire made flesh.
What? Interesting.
An epic battle took place above what the humans had once called the Earth. The traitor sons of the Emperor invaded the human homeworld. They had come to kill the Emperor and take control of the Imperium.
Yeah, that did not work out.
This was a staggering battle for beings such as humans. The final battle occurred between Horus and the Emperor after millions were killed.
That's
by
one
their
hell
blood
of a
brothers.
suit.
The final blows were landed by the Emperor and his favorite son Horus. A clash that left the Emperor fatally wounded. It is a shame what happened. The Emperor slew Horus, who, in fairness, had it coming.
How did it come, dude?
Those loyal to Horus managed to steal his remains away. How I wished to have Horus's armor in my collection. I have spent many centuries harvesting rumors of the remains of the arch-traitor. The fatally wounded Emperor was interred in the Golden Throne, a technological marvel from humanity's old world. Technology the Mechanicus hardly understood. This was the end of the human reign of superiority. It had come to a glorious finale. The fact that I'm reasonably confident that the Golden Throne is our technology is not important.
What a cliffhanger statement. Interesting. So is that all ties in with like the Omnisire or whatever? Like, who is like the Emperor? Where did he get his powers from? What did he learn? Did he really beat the Void Dragon and like explore the prison that the Necrons put on Mars? I don't know. Very, very interesting.
The times following the Horus heresy were boring in comparison. Humans fell back once again into predictability. It was black or white from then on. The Loyalists gradually reclaimed the Imperium, pushing the traitor forces that aligned with the Chaos Gods back into the warp. The 9 Loyalist Space Marine legions are divided and began their own quests throughout the galaxy. The humans desperately wanted their place at the top. As they struggled, other races grew in strength across the galaxy. The Drukhari had formed back when Slaanesh the Depraved was birthed.
The Drukhari is
They
the
saw the event
section
as
of the
inevitable
Elders,
and
right?
accepted their evolutionary
It's what Gorka
destiny.
said.
They are a brutal race, arrogant, hedonist, and vile for the sake of nefariousness. There were none in the galaxy who rivaled their cruelty.
Dark Eldar.
A slave in the city of Komorra named Vect swore to be the ruler of the Dark City. He was ambitious and founded his own group known as the Cult of the Black Heart. With a devious plan, he betrayed the leaders of Komorra and had the humans kill his enemies. With the leaders weakened,
Getting the
Vect
humans
took
to do
power
so?
and led the Dark Eldar. What he led them towards is unknown. These beasts created nothing, they offered nothing. They reveled in suffering just as the Catan did. They are beneath our regard, but have earned our disgust. The Orcs attempted to claim their position at the top of the evolutionary chain.
These are the only like faction I don't really know much about other than they were creation from the old gods.
Ancient race had swelled in numbers over the millennia. An Orc war boss known as the Beast built an impressive army that rampaged the universe. It was during this time that the Greenskins became a threat to all. I find them to be similar in some ways to the humans, warring against each other, obsessed with power, obsessed with what both races call loot. Loot.
Loot.
What a crude word. Both believe their technology to be superior to all. Another life form that idolizes the spirit of war, the Astartes, were able to stop the Green Wave, at great costs, however. A new species emerged from the dust of the cosmos. The flesh robotics first discovered the Tau on a distant world. The Adeptus Mechanicus ship, Land's vision, found the primitive species. The blue creatures were simple in nature, having only learned to use simple tools and fire.
But why was...
Simple creatures that were of no threat, but still,
why were the Admech
their elimination
going around?
was ordered as they were to be destroyed for the good of the Imperium. Before the planet could be annihilated, it was surrounded by a violent warp storm. The wars soon to take place changed the fate of their world. The Imperium abandoned their plans for colonization and left the species to their fate. I am sure the Imperium uses this story to drive their agendas. The Tau were able to unite under one banner.
Why
They
did
claimed
they...
to stand for the cause
Did they want to basically like enslave them to keep fighting their wars? Hunting for technology, I see.
of the greater good, a seemingly effective form of governance. As the centuries passed, the Tau built their empire, diving into different castes. You may encounter them. They will speak of all these castes, bar one, the Ethereals. These ruling beings are conveniently forgotten about in the Tau propaganda. These faceless elites are the true ruling class of the Tau. The Fire caste are the fist used to quell rebellion. The Earth caste show off their medical capabilities to lowly serfs. The Air caste blockade worlds and offer free transports. And of course, the Water caste, those silver-tongued diplomats.
Yeah, this is
They promise
what I
so
know
much
least
to
about so
anyone
far.
with the oral receptors to hear. These upstart fledgling fools must learn to tread carefully. They do not have the ability to confront the Imperium that they berate. Only Father Time will tell whether these masters of masquerade will live or die.
So they haven't really tested themselves
Another
against
rise
the
in
other
power for the
races of the
awful orcs.
world.
Centuries of crusading had weakened the Imperium. Humanity teetered on the verge of collapse. The Orc invasions were relentless. Even worse, the more the Orcs suffered, the more they grew. Countless star systems fell to the green
Wow.
world. It is
Just
their
grow
chaotic
much
nature
stronger
that
and
holds them back
stronger.
from remaining atop their evolutionary chain. A culture predicated on the desire to be bigger and
Basically,
stronger
they
than the
are
rest
not
can
intelligent
only go
enough
so
to go into
far
full
without true
domination.
governance. Even with their simplicity, the damage they caused almost destroyed the humans.
No
was not
chain
our
of
time to
power,
rise.
no authority.
Our armies were set
No
to awake
unison.
at a later date. However, our tomb worlds were invaded by the Adeptus Mechanicus on their quest to find the lost standard template construct.
So as far as I know, even in this timeline, the Admech, it has a pact with the Emperor, and like what, it's just in pursuit of like technology and power, things to what, propagate humanity even further. Orcs just like fighting. They might show up for a big fight, but eventually it breaks down to infighting because fight, yes, fight for any reason and not necessarily anything unified. Zeus tend to get genocide by the Imperium. That makes sense. They are very xenophobic. That much we have learned. They serve the Empire and provide technology. Gotcha.
They discovered our tomb worlds. Their curiosity and their degradation of the slumber protocols led to countless members of our race awakening. 65 million years of slumber. It was our time to rule the galaxy once more.
That's a long
To
time.
reclaim what we had died for. Our metallic bodies regenerated. Our weaponry was to mortals what the storm was to the stone. More of our tombs were awakened. Our armies began their conquest. The Silent King took back his rightful seat on the throne.
It's very much like classic excavation. Press something, you don't know what it does, and then oops, I awoken something really scary. Uh-oh. And then like they just take over the universe.
It is our time once again. How the humans love to hold their martyrs up for all to see. No single world is a greater martyr than Cadia. In truth, I had believed the Terran method of time
I hear
recording,
Cadia being
BC,
dropped.
stood for before Cadia. They speak
So
of this
is
planet so
BCE
often
also
during
before
battle.
Cadia?
It was a world of much importance to the Imperium, and to be frank, the galaxy. The fall of Cadia is a loss. It was a weapon designed to remove the warp from our reality.
What?
Its loss.
So you mean they didn't know it was just a massive weapon? They were just residing on it? Like, no big deal. This was... Why destroy the warp? Is that because of the source of the imbalance in the world? Like, with all, like, the storms and the chaos gods and everything?
Must be lamented. During the 13th Black Crusade, the War Master of Chaos, Abaddon the Despoiler, launched a massive assault against the Loyalists. A unfathomable war broke out.
Is he one of the
and planet
Primarchs
was
that
eventually
rebelled?
destroyed. It was a significant loss for the Imperium, losing such a beautiful world to their own treacherous kind.
Probably one of the Primarchs that rebelled.
By the Emperor's light within.
This only says one thing. That the most powerful emotion and desire in this world is nothing but to consume. It's just food, baby. All they want to do is eat. And that's it.
The void. I cannot say if this is true or not. Others believe they are being pushed back, chased into our regions of space. All of this poses a great
Interesting.
question.
If they're being chased into
Are
our
these
region of
beasts
space,
coming to this galaxy
what are they
after
being
having
chased by?
consumed everything they could in their own?
That's fair.
Or, and this is not the ideal case, are they running from something greater?
I honestly would like to go with the theory that they've consumed everything in their own world, because it seems like every civilization has its own downfall, and the downfall is maybe they'll consume until nothing is left.
If they continue their rude interruption of the all of us are grasping for our rightful place on the throne of the universe. All empires rise and fall. It is the destiny of all life to fade away.
Including you, Necrons.
Life is a struggle.
But
for
they
all
have been
who
resisting
fought
it.
to survive. Even the smallest of life forms face this turmoil. The weak become dust in the infinite darkness, never to be remembered. To rank which species stand at the top would be irrelevant in the current turmoil. They all cling to their spot, each battle and war gaining favor, or falling to the side to rise again. The great empires of the past have all earned their place in my halls. They each have a place in the history of the galaxy. The future of the universe will continue. Others will try to gain their spot, as did all the great empires of the past. It is a pitiful attempt.
I agree.
All life will wither and
They
die.
should know this lesson most of all,
There
because
is
they were
only
punished
one
to
race
become
that will succeed
soulless.
all. We are immortal. We have learned from our mistake. We will rule our
Oh
galaxy
no,
once
wait, they did
again.
not learn their
But
mistake.
humanity, in its
Oh no.
breeding expansion, has offered us what we never thought possible. A means to return to the flesh.
Oh wow.
We are the infinite.
I wonder if they can return to the flesh. Like, can you imagine all of this, like, full circle for the Necrons to, like, find the key to immortality and all these secrets of the universe, and, like, they had to, like, be squashed down and revive and then come back to now be like, yo, we found the secrets. We lost our souls for a little bit, but we're coming back and we're gonna be better than ever. Is that basically like the whole story here? Like they get back to their, is it 30 age limit? Oh my god, that's so short. Wow. And time. Might be a Necron. It's so interesting. Because I feel like I don't know if I should feel bad for the Necrons, but that like angle there, that was a twist. Like the Trazyn or whatever. Is this a fictional character by this YouTuber, by the way? This Trazyn is just like, yo, like maybe now is our time to like squash all the other books in the universe. I was like, whoa. I thought they were just gonna be like, we learned our mistakes. Everyone else is just bound to learn them too. Trazyn is real in the 40k universe. Okay. Too bad Tyranids are one for cultures or relics. They were awakened after 65 million years. How long were they planning to slumber? Interesting. Yes. I don't know. Maybe they were planning to slumber longer. Maybe they waited to slumber so long so they could see the progress of civilizations, or maybe they would awake to nothing and then they could just rule anyways. I don't like the Tyranids for the lore. They're portrayed as some of the time, some sort of timeline for the galaxy. I just don't like those. Yeah, like you're saying, like nothing is eternal. Everything dies and withers away at some point. So this is going to be the ultimate answer to that. Well, that was cool. In my opinion, and I think probably Foxy included one of those in there, Bricky's like timeline of the 40k universe was much more digestible and like easy to follow along than Trazyn's. But Trazyn's was more of like a beautiful like account of like the story infused with details I didn't know before. You know, like had I watched Trazyn's first, I might have been like, huh, who, what, while like literally Bricky laid it down in a very like easy and way to just digest. I mean, of course, like he infused it with a lot of knowledge, and there was a lot to like cover in Bricky's timeline. This is more of like a historical account in like a very interesting narrative perspective from the themselves, the Necron. My god, what a universe. What a fandom. But yeah, I'm compelled to like want to learn more. I would like to check out Space Marine 1 and 2. I don't know if they necessarily are going to like be the best complements of information for the universe. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. I feel like reading would be the best place to sort of like gain an understanding of the universe. So what I'll ask, were Bricky's 4 book recommendations like the best, like good book recommendations? I appreciate y'all sharing this with me. It was good. It's sometimes nice to like dive into a fandom and just have people to talk about it with. One of the many things I'm super grateful for, having a nice community on Twitch. Like y'all are so sweet and like introducing me to cool things.